OG, more like OGs. Now I'll understand if you want to just click off the video after that shitty pun to open things here. But in case you don't, what is up everybody? It is JJ Buckets, and naturally I am here to talk about the Raptors, and specifically here OG Anunoby and his new injury. Bit of a rough one there. Just going to talk about some of the negatives of losing a player like OG and just kind of the injury and the impact that it'll have on this team. But before I get into all that, just make sure you leave a like on the video. It goes such a long way to helping the video be more seen. I greatly appreciate it every time you folks do it. Subscribe if you're new here as well. But other than that, let's hop into talking about this. So it initially seemed like it could be just, one of those injuries that keeps the guy out for like a game or two. Now, the rumors are that apparently OG could miss multiple weeks with this hip pointer injury, and it comes amidst a start to the season that, despite maybe some efficiency numbers not quite being where, you'd like them to be, comes amidst the start of a really good opening, part of the season here in the early sample size for OG, where once again he was upping his production, upping his scoring, looked better in a lot of ways. His passing looked a little bit better early on, obviously scoring off the dribble, so on and so forth. Basically, it was the beginning of a potential, it still could be a potential breakout campaign. Nobody's saying it can't just because he's going to be out for a couple weeks. But I bring it up more so in terms of, OG Anunoby was in the midst of a breakout to start the year, and now the Raptors are going to have to be without that player. A player that has been arguably, you can make a case for your best player early on. Probably you're losing your best defender here. You're losing the guy that was serving for the most part as your number one scoring option, like while Pascal was out, and to some extent was still taking a good volume of shots, obviously even when Pascal was back. So it is not a favorable injury for Toronto whatsoever. I think it's safe to say that the quicker you can get OG back in the lineup, the better, because his presence will definitely be missed on this team. Again, for me especially, it's just the defensive versatility that you're gonna lose out on a bit with OG that just makes a sizable impact. And again, just somebody that was improving in the scoring department, improving his overall game, and just taking it once again to another level. Now you're going to be without that for a good few weeks. So, with the Raptors here, you can look at this, and obviously I've talked about some of the negatives. You can look and potentially try to derive some positives from this. I know, it's weird. You literally, possibly your best player, or at least one of the 2-3 best players on the team just goes down with injury, and I'm here potentially talking about positives. Like, what the hell am I talking about, right? Well, it's not so much positives as it is kind of like, what's the expression that I'm looking for here, where you're trying to find, like you're trying to find the good and the bad. That's definitely not the expression that I was looking for, but it'll do. So with this one, I guess you can kind of look to the fact that, hey, you know what, at least him missing time will create some extra shots and some more opportunities for Pascal to really get comfortable again, which is kind of nice, I guess. Like, obviously you have that big forward logjam with Pascal, with OG Anunoby, with Scotty Barnes, even to an extent, Chris Boucher, so on and so forth. Like, you have that bit of a logjam. So, losing one piece in there kind of at least frees up Siakam to take more shots, to play his more of his natural position. Although, in between me and whoever's watching this, I don't really think OG and Pascal was the problematic clash. I think it's Scotty and Pascal to an extent, but topic for another day. So you can look at that. You can also look at the fact that there are times where the Raptors have just been better with a true center like Khem Birch on the court, so it gives you a chance to get Birch more minutes and get more of those, traditional lineups in there and see if that works better for you, as opposed to obviously small balling with Pascal at the 5. So that'll be interesting. Those are definitely some potential positives to come out of this. But even still, even with these positives, it presents its own problems, right? What if Pascal does, reinsert himself into that number one role and looks really good in it? Now all of a sudden, OGs coming back, and you have, once again, the issue of needing to redistribute roles, needing to redistribute, I guess, shot attempts. So, sorry, like, stumbling on my words a little bit here, but I hope you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, just like reconstructing basically the team chemistry once again in terms of just pecking orders, shot attempts, the volume, you know, who fits into where. You know, let's say Ken Birch does look really good as the starting center. Now what? It's like all of a sudden, if both those guys are looking good in their roles, OG's coming back, you're obviously gonna make room for OG in the starting lineup because it's OG Anunoby. But then all of a sudden you face a potential dilemma of who gets dropped, and again, naturally I would assume Ken Birch is probably the one getting dropped in these hypothetical scenarios, because just based on pure talent, he's obviously not there with the rest of these guys. But you know, even with the positives that could potentially, like the small positives that could come out of this situation, it does create further issues down the future where, again, like guys just need this team is still figuring things out in terms of how they're going to coexist, where the roles are going to be, you know, who's going to operate where. And now you've thrown a wrinkle of, you know, taking one of the best guys of the team out of the situation. You know, other guys could potentially get comfortable, you know, with certain regards, and then you have to reinsert that guy, and it just creates a whole mountain of problems again. So, needless to say, this OG injury is going to hurt on levels for the Toronto Raptors. Again, just obviously just missing as good of a player as OG, but also just for team chemistry and just getting a cohesive, I guess, game plan and idea of who is going to be doing what for this team going forward. It's a little bit hard when, you know, guys are popping in and out of the lineup. So hopefully the injury isn't as bad as some of the reports have said, and, you know, that several weeks timeline only ends up being like, I don't know, like a week and a half, hopefully, just being optimistic here. But yeah, it's not, this is not a good thing in the slightest, naturally, for the Raptors. That's pretty much going to do it for me here today. What do you folks think? How will OG's injury affect this team and impact everybody around him, and hell, even just impact the team record? Comment below, let me know your thoughts on the matter. Other than that, just going to repeat the usual drill as usual, folks. Repeat the usual drill as usual. Wow, I really do have a way of words, don't I? Like the video, goes a long way, really helps me out a lot. I super appreciate it when you guys do it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Still trying to hit 1K here. It's been a bit of a slow roll recently, so let's pick things back up, hopefully, in that regard. And yeah, other than that, this is a bit more of a quick hitter, but it's been JJ Buckets. It's been a pleasure, and I will see everybody next week. I'm out of here.